Welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks. Today, we're going to go on a weird adventure. We're going to go on a 90s adventure. You better buckle up, buddy, because you're going to put on some GD rollerblades, and you're going to be skating through a dystopian town, and that's just what we do. And today, next to me, as always, is Mike.
Hi.
Wow. Okay.
Hey.
Coming in strong.
Hello, hey.
and we have our friend Sara joining us as well today. Hi, Sara.
Hello.
And today we're going to be looking at Prayer of the Rollerboys from 1990. And as always, we are a podcast about obscure, overlooked, or forgotten films. And I think this movie checks off all of those things. Maybe not for the best, but I don't know. If you're into rollerblades and rollerblading culture and dusters and Patricia Arquette just being weird about the whole thing, and Gary Lee, if you're into Gary Lee, you're going to love this movie. And Corey Haim, but Gary Lee.
Yeah, they say this is supposed to be dystopian LA. It actually looked nicer than regular LA. I don't know when the last time any of you were in LA is, but it just looked like Los Angeles with less people.
Well, let me jump in with that IMDb description.
Okay.
In a dystopian near future America, a young man infiltrates a powerful drug-dealing, rollerblading youth gang that runs his town in order to end their reign for good. And apparently, yes, it is LA. You're in California.
Yeah.
And you're doing it. I have a question for both of you before we even jump into this movie.
Bring it.
There's a lot of references. Just take a moment to yourself. Think back to when you were 8 years old. Mm-hmm. Do you stay in touch with any of those people right now? Like, I don't mean your family, but like your friends. Like, do you know anyone?
I couldn't name a person right now that I knew when I was 8 years old.
Okay. Sara, could you?
Only if I had a photograph.
Sure. So like we all like dished out some yearbooks.
Yeah,
we could
right.
okay.
Exactly.
Like I could tell you like a neighbor that like we lived by, but beyond that, I don't know what's going on, because this movie really tries to define what you do up until 8 that stays with you for life, because Gary Lee is super into like, hey bro, we were tight back then. Like, and there's a lot of references. And I know I'm jumping the gun on this, but it is, went back and wrote myself this question. As we go through this movie, keep thinking to yourself, when you were 8 years old, would you die for a street gang? especially if they were a rollerblading street gang. And P.S. you have to buy in. They're not just handing those rollerblades out.
No. Also, I also have a question. Does anyone think rollerblading looks cool? Because I feel like the main conceit of this movie is that like rollerblading looks cool. Like these guys are looking dope, and I that doesn't land for me. They just look like a bunch of dick bags like, flopping around.
This is where I really just thought it looked like Highlander on rollerblades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it was those dusters, those, coats.
Yeah, they're Spandau ballet trench coats that everyone was wearing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you look up any poster, listeners, to this movie, you will see that they are the flying V from the Mighty Ducks, and they're doing this in unison. So, Prayer of the Rollerboys. If you look up the poster or DVD cover or anything, it's imagine someone's like walking at you, but then it's swish to the right with their hand, swish to their left, but they're all on rollerblades, and as Sara said, sweet dusters. That is the cover of this film, and they're gonna be whizzing by a lot.
Yeah, maybe if the choreography was better and they were all doing the same motion, I don't know.
It's not about that.
They tried to make it about that.
I mean, to get in the gang, it's going to be about that. I mean,
have either of you ever rollerbladed?
yeah, I used to rollerblade a lot.
Did you do it in a trench coat?
Of course.
Did you deal drugs while doing it?
What do you think were in the pockets of that coat?
I see.
That and some CDs.
Okay, I don't think I've roller skated, and I've ice skated, which is like a rollerblade. I don't think I've ever rollerbladed.
We gotta get you rollerblading.
We don't need to. I'm not harshing on rollerblading as an activity. I just think it looks stupid.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Denver, Colorado, as we've noted, we transmit and record from. There's a lot of rollerbladers.
Yeah,
Like,
and they're all a fucking menace.
Really?
So okay,
I've just noticed I'm not no hate. I've just noticed a lot of people rollerblade, and I've for exercise and stuff. And I was like, wow,
it's probably a great exercise. So this is going to be another weekly segment of Mike's a fucking hater. So I ride my bike to work from time to time, and on the Cherry Creek Trail system, and there are a lot of rollerbladers there. Rollerbladers take up 17 feet to go forward.
Is it that swishing
Because
motion?
they're flailing their fucking arms.
Well, imagine if they had a duster.
And their dusters are getting in the way. You can't see around them. So, like, I'm on a bike, which is going much faster, and I need to get around these jackoffs. And they're just flapping their arms and taking up space, and they stop all of a sudden. They're like, you coexist with, like, joggers and other cyclists and other people doing whatever on the trails. Rollerbladers are the fucking worst.
I mean, are you telling me we need to follow this up with BMX Bandits? Because if that's like some kind of dare, like we need to get into the bike scene.
I would go ass sliding with you anytime. That's a line from that movie that no one will understand.
It's not. It's just something Mike says.
I just like going ass sliding, guys.
Wow. Yeah. So, Sarah, you said you have never seen this movie before.
I have not.
Now that you're a changed person, how are you feeling overall?
Well, to be honest, I was more bored than I thought I would be. Like, not
that's fair.
not to bury the lead, but I was a little bit confused. Like, this.
Are you saying this movie wasn't super cohesive? Or?
Yeah. Like, I mean, this. Not to jump too far ahead, but the mist, man. What the fuck was the mist?
It sounded delicious.
Yeah, like they hid, what the mist did until the very end, but they didn't talk about like why was everybody into the mist.
Because it's fucking rad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because LA is really boring.
Well, what we've not established is there is a drug on the streets called mist, and I mean. I think I could define it. These people's lives are boring, or you're in a weird detention camp. Well, let's kind of just jump in. We'll get into it. So we open up with an animated dragon, which I did not expect.
So is that going to be your next tattoo?
Yes.
I liked the dragon.
The dragon was pretty good.
It was cute.
Yeah. So Sarah,
cute.
Sarah, that's her next tattoo, an animated. Well, the dragon that was animated. Mm-hmm. If you could get it animated, that'd be great.
Can you do a tattoo that's like one of those things where if you look from different sides, it kind of like it moves around? Do they do that in tattoo form?
There are tattoos that you could get if you put on like 3D,
light?
yeah, like the 3D glasses and stuff. Like it does stuff.
Yeah,
but I mean that's kind of crazy. Like, hey guys, gonna come over. I'm gonna take off my shirt. I got some glasses for everyone. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Then I get the opening scene of just, as I noted, Corey Haim, or Griffin, or C-Money, as I have in my notes, just skating up and down town. This guy is just doing it, and there's some people in a dumpster. There's a lot of weird cut scenes. Basically, what it's trying to show you is this area close to Los Angeles is just... It's terrible.
Yeah, that fucking sucks. People are dumpster diving for coffee pots.
And you see a movie in between. Like there's this movie or this clip where it's like a recruitment video. Like, hey, your parents failed you, and all this money's gone. We've been bought out. I'll know later what is being shown on the radio and a TV very close in segments. But yeah, it seems just like America overall has basically collapsed in a power structure.
Right.
And no one knows what to do. There are police officers. There is, I guess, a military presence. Here's a thing I just don't understand. And we're going to go through this throughout the movie. And I think Sarah kind of just established this a bit. It's the confusion is, who the hell are these Rollerboys? And why does anyone give a shit what they're doing at any point in time? It's like there are like serious gangs. And then there's the Rollerboys, and they also have guns. Like they make no illusions about not having guns. I don't like go arrest them.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. So yeah, that video, it kind of reminded me of like of the propaganda videos from Starship Troopers. But yeah, it was very
Those
like
bugs are a menace.
they are a menace. It was it's very nationalistic. It was laced with racism. Yeah, it's just like a very blonde dude talking about alien races, but like not extraterrestrial aliens, like not white people aliens.
Yeah, and those cuts to Corey Haim doing those sweet skater moves
Yeah, in his dope tank top.
in his dope tank top.
Yeah, it was like Flashdance with rollerblades.
That's Footloose.
Footloose,
Actually, yeah. Footloose comes in later.
Okay, whatever. Well, he was rollerblade dancing, and we see graffito tags of like the day of the rope, which is coming. We don't know what it is yet, but yeah, I can't read my fucking handwriting.
Wow. Well, I mean, basically that's kind of it. Like,
Yeah.
and then we go to some kind of like shop. We're not really like sure as audience members what's going on, but we see Corey Haim has a brother, and he works for this guy Speedbagger.
So let me ask you this: is Speedbagger his name, or is he a Speedbagger? Is that like a category of person?
Well,
Because
I assumed it was like a nickname that guy got from being a former boxer.
oh, okay. Because at one point they refer to him as a Speedbagger.
Oh, I did not hear that. Well,
But that could also just be because this movie sucks. and
Well,
Does
it
he
was
work
poorly
for
written.
Speedbagger? I thought Speedbagger was more like his father figure.
I think they're working for him at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like they're
Okay.
doing odd and end jobs of like fixing things, and like they're the local shop that like you bring your radio, you fix
Right.
it. Later we'll see other people want their rollerblades fixed, and they do things like that. And clearly his brother's there.
I hate his brother.
Tell me why. Mike.
So well, one, he has a stupid, goofy little like Padawan ponytail.
His ponytail's horrible.
It's no, that's awful. And just every time he opens his mouth, like, he's just a whiny little bitch.
Did you like it? His name was Miltie.
Miltie.
I was indifferent about that, but yeah,
It's like a toast that
fucking
you
Miltie.
in your cereals.
He was a fucking milk toast little bitch boy.
A Miltie toast.
Yeah, I mean, I know I don't know how old kids are. What is he? Like
I don't know.
12?
That kid loved the mist.
He
was,
did, yeah.
He was 13.
He was 13. Do you know that, or did
They said that
set
in
it
the
up?
movie.
Every time you turn around, that kid's on the mist.
Yeah, he does love the mist. So wait a minute. What's the delivery method for the mist? Is it like a
It looks
mist?
Yeah.
like an oxygen
Yeah.
tank that goes over your
okay?
nose and
'Cause when
mouth.
this is getting ahead of myself, but I always assumed it was a because it's called the mist. But when they were packaging it up, it looked like a pill. It looked like an Alka-Seltzer.
I agree with you, and I think maybe like you put it in a machine and then
You
it,
put
like,
it in like a glass of water.
I thought it looked like Rainbow Laffy Taffy.
I think that was just the bag that it was.
I also thought it looked like just they were like pressing Viagra, like because it was like a blue
Yeah.
pill that it was like press later on. But I agree with you. I mean that makes sense. But I do think I mean Sarah's correct that we do later see people like putting like a mask to their face and it's like
So it's like Vicks Vapor Rub. You have
Yeah.
to like you dilute it and you put a towel over your head. And,
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
Like an oxygen
Yeah.
mask.
Okay.
Well, I do think Corey Haim is working there kind of on the side, but it seems like that's where his brother hangs out. So maybe Corey Haim just like, maybe there's like a barter system. Like I like do some odds and ends, but you let me like stay here because later on that's a problem. So maybe he's just kind of working there, and yeah, he's like a total father figure. But the full-time job that Corey Haim has is for pizza delivery service. I do kind of like all of this throughout the film. I do like the guy running the pizza shop.
He is my favorite character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, because I don't know. It's very Spider-Man for me. It's future Spider-Man. It's a little Fifth Element. I don't know. I kind of like this.
Pinkies?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, Pinkies, yeah.
He kind of looks like he's in a barbershop quartet. with
Yeah,
his- with-
yeah, he has like the candy striper shirt
Yeah.
and like a straw hat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the outfit is great. Someone say something.
There's notes that you can't read. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, these are particularly bad.
Go ahead.
Is this is where we also are first introduced to Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
Because she's wearing a fucking German submarine hat for some reason, and the little brother's like, "Ooh," and starts talking her up to his brother.
Yeah, and you got any mist?
Yeah, because she wants the mist.
She's in for the mist. I also have on my side note that this is where the Rollerboys, you get to see this epic shot where they come from the sunrise on a beach and they roll up into your hearts in unison. And I wrote that they are all thrusting into unison.
They are thrusting. A lot of thrusting.
It was very soon after that. I actually did write down Footloose. It was the tank top, and it really did remind me of the scene with Kevin Bacon dancing. So it was the Rollerboys Footloose equivalent here was right about here.
Someone needs to punch dance their rage out.
This is where they go to punch dance out their range.
I noted a couple times. One, the guy who runs the pizza shop. There's a couple of moments when we're all watching the movie. I was like, I bet I know the notes Mike's writing down because he has a lot of choice dialogue. But I won't spoil that on Mike's end. I did note a lot of the ingredients includes like, I got to deliver these pizza. Hold the kelp. I guess kelp is the big ingredients in California.
Yeah, a lot of kelp.
Everyone loves the kelp. It's probably toxic as hell at this point in time. Seems like the seas have burned, and the food you're getting is probably horrific. But he goes on a delivery.
Yeah, he does go on a delivery. He's delivering, I think, to one of the rival.
Well, do you remember the rules? So the pizza delivery guy gives him some. I thought these are the notes that you're writing.
No, I was writing something else down that was stupider. What are the rules?
He's like, you can't stop for anybody.
Okay.
That was rule one. Like, you cannot stop for anybody. Because, like, basically, you see again, there's, like, the Fallout future. And it's pretty rickety as hell. I mean, if you've seen Back to the Future 2, this is kind of your future where it's plasticky cars. So it's kind of like a plasticky van. And he's got, like, a gate over, like, the window. I'm like, oh, my God, okay. So yeah, the rules were like, don't stop for anyone. The illusion is they're going to jack you. And definitely don't pull over and stop for any street poon.
Oh, street poon. I didn't hear street poon.
Yeah, he says a lot of choice things later.
Man. Yeah, I knew I liked this guy. But yeah, he's delivering a pizza to like a rival, one of the Rollerboys rival gangs, right?
He is not.
Oh, who?
He's delivering it to like the soldiers of like one of these detention centers.
Oh, but they had guns.
Yeah. Like he's rolling up to like the Red Dawn base where they're like, we've got all these people like captured. Like that pizza's for me, and there's like a bunch of like poor people behind barbed wire.
Okay, that's where they keep the poor people.
Right, and the brother started to take a slice of pizza to a kid behind the wire there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so the brother was a little stowaway on this adventure, and he's eating a pepperoni pizza, and he shares it with a little like orphan girl like through the gates. Very touching moment.
It was beautiful. Setting this kid up as a real softie.
You call him a mist head.
But this scene, it kind of doesn't matter. The meat of this is when we get back in the van and they're going to their next delivery or back to the pizza place. They run across a house that's on fire.
Yeah, that's the future.
And
it's all on fire.
And instead of driving by and not caring, like you should definitely do in the situation, he decides to get out and try to help.
Well, the funny thing is I actually thought he was about to like take off, but he had his brother get out of the van. He said, "Get out of here." And he got back in the van, and then he backed into the burning house.
Right, because he saw a guy, like, trapped in the house. And rather than just going up and, like, trying to help him in literally any other way, he drives his van through the fucking door of this house, which then explodes.
Yes. But then the guy gets out.
But then, yeah, he's fine, somehow.
You freed him like a video game.
Didn't he crawl? He crawled through the van. And then
he did
out
crawl
the
through the van.
door?
Yeah.
And then just booked it.
And then, yeah. He's like, hey, thanks. I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you're like, this is the luckiest day of my life, and I am not stopping. That guy probably went to Vegas. He did not, because we soon find out he did not go to Vegas.
He did not. But the cops show up. They try to arrest, what's Corey's name?
Griffin.
Griff.
Sorry, do you mean Ramrod?
Or Ramrod.
We haven't gotten to Ramrod.
We haven't gotten to Ramrod yet. So, spoiler, everyone starts calling him Ramrod. Was that a nickname from a past thing? why the fuck was everyone calling him Ramrod?
I thought it was just the police chief.
Yeah.
I think it's just the police chief is calling him Ramrod.
No, other people call him Ramrod.
Are you serious? Who?
I thought some of the other Rollerboys started calling him that.
Yeah, and like the two weird van cops were calling him Ramrod.
That might be true. The police force is
Okay,
definitely
the police
calling
like
him
to call him Ramrod. Ramrod or Rollerpud is the two.
Rollerpud.
But anyway, the police come. They start fucking things up. And he's like, no, I'm just a pizza guy. Hence the costume in the van or uniform, whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, no, that checks out. You're a pizza guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then we basically get to a garage dance off. So back to Footloose. Now we're in
this fucking lame ass rollerblade practice. That
yeah.
he's
So
doing.
he's like him and his brother are Corey Haim. That is are just skating around and doing whatever. But then the Rollerboys show up and led by Gary Lee, and we established a little backstory like. Good to see you, bro. We were tight. I heard this guy was tight with Gary Lee. This is where I'm establishing. So I'm just going to flat out say this because it's referenced 85 times. These two people, Corey Haim, the lead of the film Griffin, and Gary Lee, the antagonist of the entire film, were tight from ages maybe 3, 4, or 5 to 8. And then Corey Haim moved away, and somehow his parents died. And Griffin's been keeping tabs this whole time because they were so tight when they were 8 years old. What the hell? But I mean, I might just be like, oh, like I think I remember you, or maybe it'd be like, oh, we were literally next door neighbors. I have no memories outside of that time we played with your light and bright. Like I don't know. Like that, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that. Who the fuck knows?
But he's stoked. He's like, we owe you, buddy. And you saved Bullwinkle, and he's my boy. And we went through the camps together. And so, when you go through the camps,
Good old Bullwinkle.
once you go camps, you got clamps. That's right, a lot of clamps.
A lot of clamps. But now, so one of the ways he's thankful, or that he displays this, is by he buys a new van for the pizza guy. What's his name?
I don't know what
Pinky.
the pizza.
Pinky. Thank you. Yeah, Pinky's
Oh yeah, it's
Pizza.
Pinky. That's right.
Buys this sweet new van for Pinky. Pinky is stoked. Corey doesn't want him to have it because
I mean, he knows there's strings attached.
there's always strings attached.
Yeah, so like the van that he drove through a house is now damaged. Whoops.
Yeah.
And no one's paying for it. So the Rollerboys, with his brother's help, he stepped in. Like Miltie was like, I talked to these guys and explained it. They're in, but they're really like clearly trying to recruit Corey Haim.
Yeah.
And so Pinky's in. And I just wrote to the side that he says for some reason he's like, load him up, limp dick. Like lots of quotes from this guy.
Yeah, and Limp Dick will be another reoccurring nickname in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of Limp Dick action.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Well, and didn't he give Miltie some sort of necklace? I can't remember. Was it I felt like it was a cross, but I couldn't quite tell.
Oh yeah, he gave him the necklace he was wearing.
Well,
Yeah.
where do you prayer of the Rollerboys?
Yeah, it was his
Prayer boys.
Rollerboy rosary or whatever.
His rollerboy necklace that Griff tried to take off of him and throw it away and say, "We don't want that. You don't want that."
So this is where we get two things that I love of this film, and this is a little like flashback, Mike, probably highlighting that you clearly not a big fan of this film. I like this film overall, but you did not like Double Dragon, but there were elements of Double Dragon that I liked, and it's these elements. And first, we hear on the radio, so it's kind of like the next day or maybe during the day, Corey Haim's like hanging out, and you hear on the radio that Mexico is turning down, what was it? Undocumented workers. That too many people are leaving the United States as, now undocumented into Mexico, and they are not having it, which I thought was hilarious. I was like, okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
The second thing is they quickly see on TV that Harvard, the school itself, the campus, has been dismantled brick by brick and rebuilt successfully in Japan. And now that is like the best school on earth. So people, like, if you want to go like to anywhere cool or good, it is clearly out of the United States of America. I think the sad thing for me in this film is I wish there was like an extended universe. I wish like somewhere I got to see other parts of what this world is, even in video game format, which was probably my preferenced version of it. Maybe when I saw this when I was younger, but
Yeah, they also in that TV broadcast they mentioned that the Dow Jones was down, which surprised me that there was still an active stock market in this world where we're selling Harvard to Japan.
But it does highlight that throughout the film that the Rollerboys do have stocks, own companies, and they aren't just like some ragtag group of like rollerblading boy street punks. That they actually have like money in the game, so don't like mess with them.
I was curious about that as well, because at one point when they're during the recruitment process, they're like, once you get to the big times, you get stock options, you get retirement, you get a pension. Do these guys have like an HR department? Is there someone? Do they have payroll? Like, who's in charge of it? Because we see like maybe 100
What do you think Bullwinkle's other job is?
Is that what Bullwinkle... So when they're not rollerblading, do they all have like some kind of administrative job that they have to accomplish?
Dude, they have a monthly departmental meeting at like 6:30 in the morning, and
So
Bullwinkle's like, you need to fill out these forms.
Right, okay.
Gary Lee brought some coffee. It's dope, but like we got to do it.
There were some Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, there were Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah. So what we off camera, what we don't see is like the meeting where they have like PowerPoint presentations. They're like, this could have been a fucking email, Gary.
Gary Lee, every which way with you.
Fucking pizza again, Gary. Yeah.
This is where I'd really like to call attention to the headband.
Okay.
Of course, the Griff headband. Mm-hmm. He doesn't wear it 100% throughout the movie. There's some crazy hair going, but there's just this really intense headband, bandana. It looked like just a rolled up bandana that Griff was wearing in his hair. But it really just stood out.
Well,
I thought,
he doesn't, you're right, he doesn't wear it all the time, but he wears it enough that when he's not wearing it, his hair behaves like it's still there. I don't know if you noticed this.
I did.
Yeah, okay.
I did. One of the times in the car, it was just like,
right, like,
woo!
Yeah, his hair is just up like it's being held up by this headband, but the headband is not always present.
I'm pretty sure to achieve the Griffin haircut, you use hairspray and mousse and maybe a concoction that you just make. You put your hair straight up, you take a blunt hatchet, and you cut it, and then you put it down in front of your face, and sometimes you have a headband, and sometimes you don't. Because that's what it looks like, that a crazy person cut and angled, and I definitely want to highlight the word angled his hair in like a weird, sharp turn.
I'm gonna take a screenshot and bring it to my stylist next time.
Nice.
Like, hey, can you do this? Can I have this? I don't want the headband, but I want it to look like it.
Well, they may or may not have the headband. That was the what they were trying to ration out in this movie, that hairstylists didn't have a lot, and you couldn't always get a headband.
That's true. Headbands are in short supply.
So, that's the book I'm writing, side stories on the streets of the Rollerboys, and it's just like what happens day to day in the lives of your barber or your accountant or your barista or whoever.
Right.
Like you're drunk at a park. I don't know. You missed it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of drunk at a park, I think the next scene is the rollerboy party with all the tits.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to talk about this party because I was trying to, I feel like it was really trying to establish how, I don't know, carefree and just like they could do whatever they want. The Rollerboys.
So they work hard, but they play hard.
Yeah, they play hard. They have girls.
They're playboys.
Yeah,
wrestling.
They were doing like they have the foxy
Jell-O?
boxing.
Yeah. Was it Jello or just like baby oil? Or,
who knows?
I don't know. But there was lots of boobs.
So that's another question. Who was the target audience of this movie when it came out?
And wait. And 9 Inch Nails Head Like a Hole is playing. Let's not overlook that at any point in time.
Sure.
Like this movie going back, Trent Reznor was probably like, great, like my album was just released. Do you want to use this in the movie? Trent Reznor now is like, you will never watch Prayer of the Rollerboys. You'll never hear my music.
It's playing on a loop in his foyer, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, This would have been the whole budget of the film to get this song
Today it would be, yeah.
Like this movie better thank its lucky stars. Like at all points in time. Like that's insane.
No, but seriously, who was intended to go see this movie? Because this came out in 1990, so the R rating exists, and the amount of tits in this movie would dictate that this was rated R.
Okay, so going back, you, Mike, I believe had only seen this movie because I had shown it to you,
That's
and Sarah
correct.
has not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it a little more. I bet I saw this movie, so it says it's released in 90. I bet I saw it in 91 because I saw it because my friend up the street, his parents, and he had an older brother, they would just like outright buy all these films. And
Sure.
I would see all sorts of stuff that was definitely not intended for my age. So, I mean, that's a great question. So, probably his brother, like someone who's like 17 or 16 at the time.
Right.
A very specific male-dominated audience of the
Right.
time.
Because
Guys who wanted to see tits.
well, then that's all guys. But
And rollerblades.
yeah, I mean, I guess my point being like, I feel like the people who would want to see this movie would not have been old enough to see this movie when it came out.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you would, I think this is a movie where like you would have found a way. Like you just like no one cares. Like I would just walk into movie theaters when I was a kid. Like I would buy a ticket and just go to another film, and no one said
sure.
anything to me. Or I would go to my friend's house and he's like, my older brother has a stack of weird films that I'm allowed to watch at any point in time. I'm like, we're having a sleepover.
Or
I'm
this
gonna
is
watch
like
this film.
the movie that you con your mother into renting for you. It's like, it's Corey
Yeah.
Haim. He's rollerblading.
Yeah, it's just like, I love rollerblading, Mom. And Corey Haim. You
Right.
love The Lost Boys. You're cool. Let's do it.
Right. And then like when she comes down to bring you, pizza pockets or, bagel bites or whatever, you pause it and like, look, they're just rollerblading.
That would not be my luck. I guarantee
You would have paused it on one of the
Not at all.
the tit
My mom would be
scenes.
like, I'm going to watch this movie with you. Like, I love Corey Haim. Let's watch it together. And I'd be like, okay. But not knowing what was in it and then uncomfortably watching many of the scenes of it.
So speaking of the first scene where Corey is introduced to Patricia Arquette's character, who is called something
Casey.
Casey. He spends the first 30 seconds of their scene together looking directly at her tits. I don't know if that was
This is actually the second time they saw each other because he came to the she came to the shop.
Oh, that's right. She did come to the shop.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't staring at her tits then.
No, he was staring at her tits, but she had
Yeah.
that like. I just want to spend a moment talking about her outfit.
Which one?
Well, the one in this scene, in the head like a whole scene where she's got the weird top hat.
Oh,
and
where
the-
she's
and
dressed
the-
like Hopalong Cassidy.
Yeah, and the clown neck, and the,
Right, yeah.
and the like
The mole?
weird
Yeah.
black thing on. What was the black thing on her face?
I don't
was
know.
it supposed to be a mole?
I don't know what it was supposed
It
to
looked
be.
more like a weird spider. Or
It was
something.
weird. Yeah, but the first time we see her, she's dressed as like a future sailor, and then the second time we see her, she's when he's staring at the tits, she's just wearing a bra basically, and now she's wearing whatever the fuck this is at this Nine Inch Nails party,
Yeah, it's a bra and a clown collar and
Yeah.
a top hat.
as one does.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
1990.
Yeah.
This was like the set of any MTV video at the time.
That's totally what I used to wear.
Yeah.
And then he takes her outside and he's like, I'm going to make out with you, and kind of seduces her underwear off and then makes fun of her for it and says, like, you'll take them off for anyone or for him. We couldn't really hear it. Maybe the illusion was it was for Gary Lee, and then leaves because this will come back in his face. This is just really weird too and really just rude. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rude.
you just
Gross, rude.
Get her underwear off and then like leave. Like,
Yeah.
what?
He didn't even take it. It was a gift. He gave it back to her.
They threw it in her face.
Yeah.
Damn.
no, I don't. So when am I going to you? Like, I can't read my notes. I just have roller nights.
I wrote roller pud next.
Yeah, roller putt is next.
So-
'Cause, well, now after she fucks off, like the cop Kowalski or whatever his name is, he shows up and takes Ramrod back to the station for some reason.
I note here that I can't remember what it is, but there's some kind of like electronic instrumental playing, and I just loved it. I just wrote "love soundtrack" right now. It sounds like Electro Asia, and that I kind of vaguely remember what it was. It was very like out of place. So I was like, I don't know why this is the soundtrack now, but it's really rad, and then it kind of went away.
Yeah. But yeah, the detective takes him back to the station, and he's clearly trying to get him to help take down the Rollerboys. They seem to have some kind of pre-established relationship that was never explained. He's referring to him as Ramrod left and right. He says something about chewing up a baby white ass.
Yeah. What his baby white ass. Yeah, something about it. I think it was about Miltie.
Oh, they didn't want Miltie's baby white ass to get chewed up.
Yeah.
And so this is where the chief is like, I've got the backstory on you. Seems like you two grew up together. You guys were pretty tight. And even Corey Haim says, and I wrote, we hung out until we were 8. Mm-hmm. I moved. And I wrote, Jesus! Exclamation!
I moved to a new school.
Like, oh my God! Like. Again, this is the question I asked all of you listeners. Like, imagine you were 8 years old. You, like, outside of family members, do you still remember these people? Like, and even if you did, those were the most formative years of your life when I was, like, 7 and 8 years old. Like, yes, when I was playing, soccer and touch football, Gary Lee was always there. I once fell down and he gave me an orange slice. Now he's running a multi-billion-dollar rollerboy gang. So, fantastic.
Yeah.
Thick as thieves.
My next note is attack. Was there a battle here?
No.
Actually, no. My next note is a joke that I believe Gordy, what's the kid's name? Miltie?
Was Miltie doing the mist there?
Does he come home to him doing the mist?
Yeah, maybe that's it. It looks like I wrote Miltie drug Miltie.
Is he doing old Miltie?
This is maybe Mike. The attack is there was a drug deal that's gone wrong.
Okay.
There's like 2 gangs. They're doing dealing drugs, and then all of a sudden like they get out like an M16 out of
Jeep.
Like
it was guns at the outdoor restaurant.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay.
And then they run off, but Miltie is there, and you could see that Miltie is getting more incorporated with the Rollerboys themselves, they advertise themselves as these clean-cut boys with dusters and rollerblades and, machine guns, and glasses. But they're one rule, you can't do the mist. We're drug-free, but they're clearly dealing the drugs
We're
every which way.
also basically Nazis.
Yes.
Miltie is hanging out with the Rollerboys, and he's liking it. He's thinking they're pretty cool. And I wrote down this joke that he told. So there's a lot of like anti-Polish commentary in this movie for some reason. And Milton's telling a joke. What did the Polish guy say after his honeymoon? I could have porked her, which I don't get. Is that a Polish sausage joke?
That's what I would do.
Do Polish men not know how to bang? I don't know.
You're asking a lot of questions.
I'm sorry.
That are beyond my station.
Inquiring minds want to know about the pork.
My next note is means that we didn't exactly touch on something. So when Griff was with the cops, he was telling them no, he wasn't going to do whatever they wanted to do with the Rollerboys. But after this event at the outdoor restaurant with all of the guns and running away with Miltie, this changed his mind. And
he's in now.
That's when he went back and he said that he wanted to secure relocation for Milton if things went sour.
That's right. Yeah, the cop's like, fuck no, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
We don't have relocation money.
Yeah.
But, I guess he concedes to it.
And they're wondering what this Day of the Rope business is.
He really wants to know about Day of the Rope.
Yeah, well, I think we all do.
Yeah, well, we find out, and it's also horrible. But so, he concedes, he goes back and he joins the Rollerboys. They're hanging out at Rollerboy HQ, him and Gary Lee. He gives some Asian man a cash bandolier for some reason in exchange for guns or something. I don't know what was happening here.
Well,
there was a suit of armor too. That suit of armor.
There was a suit of armor, yeah.
There's also this really weird talk that they have where so Corey Haim, Griff, just basically talked to the cops and he's like, okay, I'm in. But then, so he's like, okay, stage 2, I go to Gary Lee and have to, become a roller boy. And Gary Lee, yes, is reading this weird thing, newspaper where Germany has bought Poland, and there's a suit of armor with a halo.
With the Polish stuff.
Yeah, a suit of armor with a halo behind it. And Gary Lee puts down his newspaper, and he goes, I do want to tell you, I really hate betrayers. They really piss me off.
Yeah.
And I just thought, wow, that's just common knowledge.
Yeah.
I also hate betrayers.
Not me. They're one of my favorites.
I invite all the betrayers. So there you go.
Yeah, there were some weird things in this scene. It was, the weird glass in the background and all the weird plants. And then there was the TVs on, like, weird bodies.
Oh, yeah, like on the mannequins?
Yeah, like mannequin bodies. And then he was petting that weird lizard that had, like, a weird, like, scrotum, like, throat
Yep.
thing.
Oh, the scroll lizard? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, those are... I wrote some weird notes about what that environment was like for him. There was just lots of strange things in that place.
Well, they just want you to know that he balls hard.
You get a bearded dragon up in here, and Gary Lee, you got a party.
It was a really big lizard, and it was a really big neck sack.
That's right. But is this where he has to go on his little...
We got an initiation.
Initiation, yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually, like, all jokes aside, this is my favorite part of the movie. It's really quick, and it's kind of fun for me.
Yeah.
So the initiation is this. There's like 10 dudes, and they're like, here's the deal. You are about to enter a restricted access area. We will meet you at the very end. They seem truthful, and spoiler, they do hold up on this. But they're like, you have got to go in. You've got to skate up. You've got to grab someone's badge, and then you've got to bring it to basically what we've established as the finish line. We'll be at the end, but we will only accept the first person that does this.
Right.
I was like, wow, this is crazy intense.
This scene was actually pretty cool. It also marks the only point in this movie where being on rollerblades was a benefit to anybody.
That is correct.
Yeah.
This also starts to make me question how many rollerboys there are, but yes.
Yeah, so I guess the initiates go in there. One of them gets shot fucking right away.
Oh yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, just immediately. And ultimately it comes down to two. So Ramrod, he steals the badge from someone, and he escapes, and he has like the race towards the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of downplaying this too. I mean, people are like coming out with like Jeeps and like Gatling guns.
Yeah, no,
like,
they're
like,
on him.
Yeah,
like,
people are like
intense.
turning the corner with machine guns. Like it is. I mean, yeah, like all these other people are just getting mowed down.
Yeah,
And then
they're
the dirt
evading
bike.
stuff.
Oh yeah,
The dirt bike came from out of nowhere.
Yeah, the dirt bike came out of nowhere and fell over for reasons that I can't.
Yeah. Also, very quickly.
Yeah.
It's like some orange dirt bike comes out and starts like hassling Corey Haim, and then he kind of turns the corner and
Like, he fell over.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, shit.
Yes, that's done. So, so they get to the end, and both these guys have badges, Griffin and this other guy, and they're both kind of like fighting each other off. And so
Were they beating each other off?
I didn't say it.
Okay.
I don't know what's in their hearts and in their heads. But with this, there's a gate at the very end, and the Rollerboys just exploded. They throw like some kind of bomb and explodes. Like, go, go, go. Both the guys get really close. Griff gets in the truck, and the other guy's like honestly like 2 feet away.
Yeah, he's not far, but
and Gary Lee just takes out a gun and shoots him. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So that was the rules.
He was like, I was rooting for you. Yeah.
Yeah. He said it just like that, Tim. Hey.
So okay, yeah. So then we go to the ceremony. The next scene is a
This
cutscene.
was fucking
One of us.
bonkers.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so here's the ceremony. So, okay, there is probably, I would assume what they're trying to show you is like at least 300 roller boys.
Yeah.
They all went through this initiation. Oh my God, how many people died to become a roller boy? But then I started overthinking this, because then they start panning down to the crowd, and it's like the kids watching the Bozo show. It's like 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds. And I'm like, I bet if you're a kid, you don't have to go through the initiation. If you like grew up within the ranks.
Oh, maybe,
I bet
yeah.
if you're an outsider, this was the initiation. Because I was like, there's no way in shit. Like every day, like 10 people get out of a truck and you have to like, go
Right.
do stuff. Like then you have a ceremony like every 5 minutes.
Well, at that point, that loading dock where they were rollerblading through, they just start expecting
This is like Seinfeld, where Elaine gets addicted to cake because everyone has a birthday every day, and then there's like a lull. So like people would go freaking out about the ceremony.
Right.
Yeah, so the ceremony, it really struck this Temple of Doom vibe for me. The one of us, and all the kids holding up their fists.
Yeah, yeah, there's a strong Kali Ma vibes.
Alima!
Well, Griffin is now one of the dragon,
Yeah.
which is a complete tie back to the animation sequence highlighting this movie as it opened. By animation sequence, I mean like a millisecond of a dragon moving around, and then this movie starts. But
And those
Dragon
are the only
Force,
those are
Dragon
the only
Power.
two mentions of dragon. But
Like-
it was strange.
I could have used some dragon sound.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, the Rollerboys, they're friends. It's based on friendship, integrity, honesty, loyalty.
This is just the opposite of
They,
that.
they stick together through thick and thin.
It's like gun shop security, loyalty, burglary.
Yes.
Yeah, so now Griffin's, going on the runs. And so we go back to Pinky's Pizza Joints.
Yeah, he's there with Lucifer from Supernatural.
Yeah.
What's his name? Like Bongo?
Yeah,
Bongo.
it's Bongo.
Is it Bongo?
I think it is.
Jesus
And
Christ.
he's got his coat and his sunglasses, and he's
Yeah.
instead of the headband, this is where he starts wearing the bandana
Yeah, he's got the
fully over
bandana.
his hair. Yeah.
Bongo has hair like Guile from Street Fighter, which is pretty great. But yeah, they're roughing up and they're shaking down. The pizza
Pinky.
guy, Pinky. They're shaking down Pinky, and Pinky's trying to play it cool. He's like, guys, I mean, like, I love you guys. I mean, what can I give you on the house? You want pizza? I'll give you some pizza. You want a salad? I've got some Boss kelp.
Kale. Boss kelp.
Yeah,
that's
Boss
right.
Kelp.
But they don't want that Boss kelp. They just want the money. And Corey's like, you know what? I know where your stash is. The stash was apparently the counter in front of him.
Oh, how dare you look through my register?
Because he just reaches down and grabs his wad of cash. Like, I know where you keep it. And they take the money and leave. As they're leaving, Pinky's like, fucking limp dick. Because everyone's a goddamn limp dick in this movie.
So, okay, so as a roller boy, you've got a lot of rounds. You got a lot of responsibilities. So round 1, roughing up the neighborhood and stealing their money. Round 2, servicing the children by handing out roller boy comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Servicing the children isn't how I would phrase that. But
Well, they wanted comic
they're
books.
serving the community. Yeah. They did want the comic books. And yeah, so in addition to having like an HR team and like a stockbroker, the Rollerboys also apparently have a printing press and some kind of like...
Yeah, this is. I wish
This
there
is
was
an enterprise,
like the
man.
expanded stories of the Rollerboy universe. Like, I feel I might need to tackle this, but I feel the problem I'm gonna run down is, remember when you were like kids and like the anti-smoke unit would come into your school and they're like, "Don't smoke, but we're gonna give you some comics." And I remember some of the years they would give you Spider-Man comics, and I was like, "What? Oh my god!" But it was like Spider-Man versus Smokescreen, and it was like just like cigarette smoke. Like that was the guy's like power. And it was also like a comic book that was like 10 pages, and you're like, "Ah, no." That's got to be the Rollerboy comics. Can you imagine Gary Lee
Yeah.
as some kind of comic strip
No.
misting you,
So
recruiting you?
you mentioned that you want to see the backstory, like the side, the extended universe. What I would like to see is, and we could produce this right now, on air production meeting. So this is what I'm pitching. It's The Office, but it's the team of the Rollerboys accountants. Like in an office suite somewhere, and every once in a while Gary Lee comes by, and they're like, "This fucking limp dick is coming by again." But it's just the hijinks that ensue. Like, their lead accountant has a crush on the receptionist, but it all takes place in the Rollerboys extended universe.
There's probably going to be always a character that's dead by the end of the episode.
Every
It'd be
episode,
like Star Trek.
it's like every
I'm
episode someone
Ensign
dies.
3 in a red shirt.
Right. And when they meet their sales quota, and they're like, "Oh, great, they got his fucking kelp again, his Boss kelp."
Yeah, guys. We're gonna have like an employee of the month. I got
Right.
I got Todd over there. I got him some kelp pizza from Pinky's. Like, real good job there, bro.
So that's there we go. That's my pitch.
That's fine. I would read it.
Okay.
Totally. Is this when Griff gets his new fancy trailer and goes back to Speedbagger? You know.
When Speedbagger kicks him out of the fucking lawn.
Yeah. Where he says, I wrote down that he said, "I know what hate looks like."
Well,
So-
yeah, because now his friend is basically a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Well, also and drives an RV. So
Right.
now Miltie and Griff are living in this like I believe sponsored RV.
Well, yeah,
from the Rollerboys.
So I guess it's worth pointing out that previous to this, Griff and Miltie lived in a tent in Speedbagger's front lawn, and they get this dope ass RV, and they try to park it there, and he has a gift for Speedbagger. We don't see what it is, but Speedbagger's like, "You're basically a Nazi now, so you can get the fuck off my lawn," and then he doesn't want anything to do with him.
Also, before we get to this, Patricia Arquette highlights to Griffin that she is a cop. He was unaware of that until this point in time. But she is hanging around the police office like every which way. I'm like, are you serious? She's in like 5 different videos and like, but yeah, she's like, oh, I'm a cop, so we got to work on the mist house. It's gonna take me months to get to the mist house. And she's like, well, figure it out.
Like whatever. And then like some Rollerboys come around, so she's like, we have to kiss, but make it look real. And then she clowns on him because he can't kiss worth shit, I guess.
Yeah.
And Annie Oakley, she was dressed like
This
Annie
is where she
Oakley.
was dressed as Annie. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. The little cowboy get up.
Yeah.
Next outfit, she's gonna look like Annie Potts. Boom. No. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Mike
yeah.
just looked at me. Not a big Annie Potts fan.
I don't know what that's from.
I don't know. Designing Women. You don't know Annie Potts?
Is it from Designing Women?
Well, she's the secretary in Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters.
Okay.
That's Annie Potts.
I didn't. Is that her? What?
That's Annie Potts. Her name is Annie Potts.
You don't know who Annie Potts is?
In Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Her real name in real life is Annie Potts.
Oh, that's the actress's name.
Yes.
I didn't know that. No.
Yes.
What's her name in the movie?
I've lost.
Yeah.
It's Janine.
Janine. Okay, that's Janine Melnitz.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would have gotten there. Annie Potts. I don't know.
No, but I mean, I try to get you there from Designing Women. I don't know what else you want me to do.
I don't think I've ever seen
Come on,
Designing
man.
Women.
Mike loves Designing Women.
Pretty in Pink, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Actually, no. I know you never cross a sugar baker woman, but I only know that from 30 Rock.
See, there we go.
Okay.
I told you, listeners, write in at any time. You want isolated comments from Mike?
Here we go.
Let me know. You want his insight on Designing Women? Let me know. Let me know.
I do events. I'll do mall openings, public speaking, whatever you need.
Yeah. He'll design your women
I will design your
with
women.
Annie Potts.
Yeah.
He now knows Annie Potts.
I know who Annie Potts is now.
We did it.
Ghostbusters. Yeah. Okay.
I'm glad that got you there.
Yeah, thank you.
But then we get, it's back to the movie. We get a little bit of horseplay. So Gary Lee just loves doing nothing. Gary Lee also just loves Griffin. Like their friendship when they're 8, it must have been made out of rainbows and magic because he's like, I'm going to show you what we're doing. This is where I build, forts. This is where we kill people. This is where we got people that I came in. He's like, yeah, but I was still a better rollerblader. And he stops the Jeep. And Gary Lee can't have it. He's like, boys will be boys. So they go on a little roll blade off.
Yeah, they're blading off all right.
And I want to say it was not a Jeep. It
No.
looked much more like almost like a James Bond type
It was
car.
a Jaguar XK1.
Is that okay?
Okay, I was gonna
I
ask
don't
if you
know.
knew what it was.
Yeah, I do know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a sweet ass car.
Okay, it was a pretty cool car. That was where Corey had the crazy hair without the headband.
Yes.
It was
Well, convertible, it's hard. It
Yeah.
just goes everywhere.
they were expanding, and he was doing something with energy. Like it was like lots of really weird discussion about all the different expanding that they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about the whole enterprise.
Yeah,
Like, here's the kitchen. This is where we make mist.
Yeah.
that's right.
Here's the super mist hut. Someday you could go in the super mist hut. By the way, here's your weekly salary. It's a stack of random bills from different kind of currencies.
Yen is mentioned a lot. I didn't know that was
yeah.
a tie back to, like Harvard being relocated, but they do say yen a couple times. But what he is holding is not yen.
No, I mean there might have been yen in there.
sure.
I don't know. Yeah, he asks Corey. It's like, do you ever want to go to university? He says, I'd love to go to university, but who's got the yen?
That's right.
I guess they don't have student loans.
Did you say it like he was British? Was he like Griff? You got to go to uni. He was like, I dream, pops.
You've got to go to university. You got to get yourself a nice flat.
Right, and also,
if only you had the yen.
So also, Gary Lee's like, yeah, we can make this happen. I need smart guys like you. I'm like, dude, you just told this guy your entire operation. You think you're sending him to 4 years of like undergrad and a couple years of grad school? Like, this guy is never gonna leave your sight. Like, you literally just was like, this is my drug lab. This is how my hand is needed to get in, but beyond that, this is where I do drugs.
Yeah.
You make them. Yeah, it's weird.
Well, and right around here is also where we find out that Miltie is like misting up a storm.
Miltie loves mist.
Miltie does love mist.
Where's he getting it all?
Well, that's a great question.
They keep giving it to
Where
him.
is he? Well, because the rollerblades, they don't do mist. They're too busy rollerblading.
That is a policy, though. You cannot do mist. That is
can't.
Gary Lee even said, like, I don't mind. He was like, I think it was earlier, like, do you drink? And Corey Haim's like, yeah, I drink. He's like, I don't mind drinking, here and there in moderation. We could party, but never do the mist.
Well, and we'll find out in a little bit why we shouldn't do the mist. But where's Gordy where's Miltie getting the mist? Who's giving this kid the mist?
All of them. That kid probably just rolls up. He's like, my brother's like best friends with Gary Lee. They're like, dude, like, here's take it, put it in your pocket.
Maybe they all hate this kid so fucking much. They're like, you know what? Normally we don't, but
Well,
for you and your dumbass little ponytail.
How about this? We'll find out the twist of mist.
Twist of this.
And with that, maybe it was intentional.
Yeah.
Because the end result is what they wanted with Miltie.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. That's a good point.
So
Okay.
soon after this, I don't remember exactly how we get here, is when Griff goes to Casey's house, because in their previous encounter she had given him her address.
That's
like
right.
when they were making out.
When they were making out, yeah.
Yeah, so he shows up at her house and she's in her cute little flowered robe with
Right.
her hair slicked back like she just got out of the shower. And
She's like, you think I like whoring around with the Rollerboys? Quote unquote.
and we have a couple of
The answer is yes.
There's a couple of the police guys listening in a van.
Yeah, these weird police guys are like, they're working with her kind of, but they're always just like spying on her.
I wrote down Pud don't score. So
Yeah,
they're making bets as to whether or not Pud is going to score.
They're making bets. Well, so earlier he didn't score. She just like cucked him real bad. But this time, I think he scores later. I think. I can't keep these fucking scenes.
No,
straight.
he does not score.
This is the scene where she's like, "I want to blow your dick off," but then like she doesn't, and he's like, "Fuck!"
And then she takes off his
underwear.
his underwear. It's a callback, and she's like, you give it just away to anyone. And it's like, oh, Jesus. And then we get a hard cut to a gang party that's happening outside, like
That's
straight
right.
out of the Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Where it's like all these guys are partying, these women are partying, there's beers in the air, there's loud music, and the Rollerboys just come out of the mist. That's what reminds me of the Lost Boys. Like, there's like, in the Lost Boys, there's like a bunch of people partying around a campfire, but then like the Lost Boys, the vampires, come from the trees and like the sky, which makes sense. These Roller Boys come from around the corner, and you could probably have seen them like half a mile away, a clickety clack, clickety clack. But
Is this where you mentioned that there was a song that sounded like it was from Lost Boys minus the saxophone?
Was that?
I think
Was this here?
It might have been, and what I remember from this scene is that guy that just punches that girl like in the chest, like I don't know.
I don't remember that.
It was like there was this girl with like long dark hair who just gets punched.
I have that a guy gets stabbed in the crotch repeatedly, and that definitely happens.
That does happen.
And so the next day or whatever, Corey Haim goes and visits Speedbagger, and he tries to make amends. And Speedbagger's like, "You don't know what you're getting yourself into." Corey Haim clearly doesn't reveal that he's working with the police, that he's undercover.
Yeah.
Speedbagger's like, get the hell out. And we see Bullwinkle, the guy that he saved, who clearly has some weird vendetta against Corey Haim. I think it's just he's jealous that Gary Lee likes him so much. But again, this guy pulled him out of a damn fire.
No, so we didn't talk about this, but there was one, the Rollerboys were like culling a gang, and Corey let some people go. And he caught,
that's right.
he caught
that's
Corey.
right, yeah.
So that's where he's like, you're a little fucking bitch boy.
Yeah, he doesn't like that.
And this is where he starts disliking him.
Yeah, so then we get another scene where now just part of the daily gang activities is they're beating a man who has his face covered in some kind of cloth, like a hood.
Yeah,
And
they're rollerblading. It's like a fucking maypole. They're rollerblading
Yeah.
around him and just like slapping the shit out of this guy.
and even Corey Haim later says, like, I kicked him as hard as everyone else. And because the big surprise reveal is after they beat the crap out of this guy, they take off the hood and it's Speedbagger.
Oh no, it's Speedbagger.
Yeah,
whoops.
Speedbagger.
I never could have imagined. We did it.
Yeah. So, Corey Haim said, he yells at everybody, tells them to back off.
Yeah.
Even Miltie and his horrible ponytail are there telling them to leave Speedbagger alone.
Yeah, and one of the Rollerboys slaps the shit out of Miltie.
Oh, yeah.
Which was my favorite part of this movie. Because that kid fucking sucks. But yeah, so this leads to a conversation between Corey and Miltie about we got to get the fuck out of here. Like they're kind of onto us probably.
Well, they're in the hospital. Like Speedbagger's still alive.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to get out. And Corey Haim's like, yeah, he's right.
He's
gotta
right.
Get out.
Yeah. So like, where are we going to go? We're going to go to the outer lands, the bubble towns. The bubble towns sound adorable, by the way. I'd go to a bubble town.
Right. So there's only one thing to do: have sex with Patricia Arquette
Yeah. So
on the way out.
he goes back to bang Patricia Arquette again.
And does.
Yeah. Does.
What about the evil apple eating? I wrote down. Was that?
That was before. That was when he saw the people escape.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So Corey Haim goes back to see Patricia Arquette. They have sex. Next day, he's like waking up, and Bullwinkle breaks in, and Patricia Arquette's badge is just like on like the corner table, and so they're having this conversation, and he eventually puts his hand down, sees the badge, and then thinks it's Corey Haim. He's like, you son of a bitch. Like, you're a traitor. I can't believe this guy, Gary Lee. I can't believe you were one of his favorites. This is ridiculous. This is over. And basically, Patricia Arquette comes out. He's like, just let her go. Because, again, he is unaware that she is the cop and not Corey Haim.
Right.
And the two undercover cops that have been outside the whole time come in, and they start saying weird stuff. They're like, wait a minute. Oh, no. It is Bullwinkle.
Bullwinkle's like, wait, I've seen you guys before. Were you
you're
like
in the
looking
window?
in the window?
I've always been in the window.
That's where I'm at now.
The man in the window. He's going to get you. And so, a lot of weird things are alluded to, and then the other cop just shoots him in the back of the head. He sneaks up behind him.
Right.
And even the police chief later comes in and is like, what was that guy talking about? And they're like,
Look, nothing probably. Shut up. Something about the Polish.
Yeah, they're like, we have it all recorded. And they're like,
yeah, that's great, yeah.
Sweet.
But yeah, so we're kind of getting the vibe that maybe these cops are not what they seem.
Yeah. So we get Gary Lee. He rolls up, and this is a very Point Break moment. And if we didn't note this before,
and there's a reason for that.
That the the director of this film is a co-producer of Point Break, and the writer of this film is the writer of Point Break. Because this next scene totally reminds me of Point Break. So Gary Lee rolls up to the RV, and Corey Haim is taking care of Miltie. He's like, so Bullwinkle's dead, yo. Like, he was my good friend. And Corey Haim's like, what? Like, I don't know anything about it. He's like,
weird,
all right, well, you're going to be working his shift in the kitchen tomorrow, and that's just the way we're going to do it. In Point Break, it is Brody rolls up to Keanu Reeves, and he's like, we're going to bring you somewhere, and you're just going to start doing something. And you clearly get this I'm sick in my stomach feeling for Keanu Reeves, where you're like, whatever this dude is telling you, this is not the whole story. He knows something. But in this instance, that is not the case. I was misled. He's like, that dude's dead, so you're just going to be working a drug lab with, was it Bongo?
Bongo.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah, whatever.
Laddie.
So he's got his kitchen shift. He's got to take the kitchen shift coming up.
Yeah, and this is where they lock them in the kitchen, him and Bingo. or whatever whatever the fuck his name is.
The lingo.
And
It's Bango. It's Bango.
Bango. Okay, and Bango is like, hey, you know, he doesn't like
Brought Dunkin' Donuts.
He brought Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I mean
Donuts.
that's a nice move. He also brought like an igloo cooler full of beers. He's like, don't tell.
And then melts them in acid.
Yeah, don't tell Gary Lee. He doesn't like me drinking on the job. So he's drinking these beers and then melting the cans in acid.
This guy seems super nice.
And he's like
Yeah.
dancing. He was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, he's just having a good time.
If you have to share a shift with someone, it's that guy. It's Bango.
Oh yeah, so there's a big vat of acid in this room because if this was brought up like an hour ago in the movie, if the cops like come in, they press a button and the whole thing gets acided and all the evidence.
Yeah,
is
basically
melted.
the drug lab is like a sealed container unit, and
Yeah.
there's an assembly line of drugs. Like it presses it here, it moves it here, it bags it here, it does this. But if the cops come and knocking, you press this button and just a glass dome of acid pours over everything, and it quoteth Gary Lee, our lawyers could handle the rest.
Right, because they have a lot of good lawyers apparently. But okay, so we're back on the shift, and Bongo is drinking his beers, and Corey finds this big novelty Ziploc bag with like a skull and crossbones on it. He's like, "Hey, what's this powder in this big fucking bag?"
That's Gary Lee's special little
That's the additive.
it's the additive.
That's the what's it called? The fucking rope thing.
Yeah, that's the rope.
That's the rope.
That's
That's
the
the day of the rope. He's like, "What's the day of the rope?" He's like, "Well," and straight up, he's like, "It's his final solution."
Yeah, way
So
way to tie that to Nazis.
Yeah, great. So like now we're not even hiding it anymore. But it's basically
It'll make men sterile.
it's a sterilization drug.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, shit, my little stupid brother's been taking this. He's like, he's probably fine, but no one's gonna fuck that kid anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter.
And then we shortly hear the two cops that have been sneaking around. They're like, "Hey, buddy, like we're gonna get you out of this place." Like, knock, knock, knock.
Oh yeah,
and
shit.
they're like, "The cops are here."
No,
And
we're fucking bad at this. Before he went into the factory shift or whatever, he called
oh yeah,
Patricia Arquette. It was like, hey, at noon, come to this fucking thing and storm the castle. And they're like, oh, she's not here, but like we'll definitely do that. And it was the two shady cops.
and now they're there.
And now they're there. Yeah.
and they're like, we're gonna get through, and they're saying it like they're cops.
Like, look out, Griff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Bango's like, "We're gonna use the acid," and then Bango's like, "Wait a minute, why do they know your name?" And he's like, "You son of a bitch." And Corey Haim, I give him some credit, just takes a steel pipe to this dude's head.
Yeah, oh yeah, he fucks them up.
I mean, this dude is huge in comparison to Corey Haim, so it's kind of you do it or don't. And he does clock him over the head with this, and he goes down. He's like, "Stay down, Bango." But Bango does get back up, and Corey Haim somehow manages to hold him off long enough for these two cops to blow open the side of the door and shoot this dude in the back.
Right.
And then tell him that, Corey Haim, that is, that they're going to shoot him too.
Yeah, the cops are like, hey, oh, by the way,
We're dirty as hell.
We're dirty as fuck. We're going to shoot you. We're going to take all this fucking money. But then the real cops show up with Patricia Arquette, and they're like, the fuck you are. Shoot those guys. Save the day.
And they do, and all is great in the land of the Rollerboys.
But only briefly.
Twist.
But now, so the real cops and Corey, Ramrod, are coming out of the trailer, and they run into the rest of the Rollerboys, who and Gary Lee has a gun to
Miltie. You can say Miltie.
Miltie's head.
How do you not remember Miltie?
Dude, I don't. How long have we been doing this? I've remembered 8
His
names
name is so weird.
over the past fucking year. Also, I'd like to point out something right here. So, in the drug lab, Corey is not, Ramrod is not wearing rollerblades.
Mm-hmm.
No, but he is when they walk out.
But as soon,
or roll out.
yeah. So like the cops come get him. They save the day, and they walk out. And somewhere he's like, "Cops, hold up! I gotta put my fucking blades on." Because in the next scene, he is wearing rollerblades.
I'm gonna quote Young Guns to you.
Okay.
Regulators, mount up.
So that's, yeah, that's what he said. He's like, okay, Kowalski or whatever, Patricia Arquette, hang on. I gotta roll
hang on,
up.
guys. Let me unzip my backpack. Let me take out these little rollerblades. Muscle memory right here. Little straps. Do it.
Yeah, so they have that.
What's that voice? Where did that come from? I love it. Jeez, guys, what are you...
Maybe I should eat some snacks. I haven't eaten some snacks before I go blading.
It's like snot from American Dad. Hold up, Steve. Okay, so yeah, he's rollerblades on at the ready.
But they're gonna have one last blade off.
Yeah, they gotta have a blade
them
off.
all.
And this,
Well, here's a question.
Okay.
So, Gary Lee has some kind of revolver that has unlimited ammo.
right, has a million bullets.
I mean, he is shooting this, like, even if, like, maybe he puts in a couple, I'm going to give him credit. He's got a couple extra bullets in his pocket. I mean, we never see this. I'm going to assume that's the case. This guy shoots his gun like 45 times.
He does shoot it 45 times. And also, so there's a rollerblade chase. And if
You can say blade off.
there was a blade off. So earlier in the movie, when they have to infiltrate that fucking base and steal the card, that scene was cool. There was some cool, I shudder to say, there was some cool rollerblading. Like, it was kind of dope. This scene is fucking lame.
This scene goes on forever.
It's 4
because
hours,
It's
and it
two
sucks.
people just, like, imagine what the 90s thought parkour was on rollerblades, because you just got a montage of that, and it goes on forever. That's why I started noting, like, this guy's shooting his gun again and again and again. Eventually, he shoots a bunch of, like, tanks that have some kind of, like, fuel in it. It explodes, and this is one of my favorite parts. Mid-air, and this is clearly dubbed over in the film, so there's an explosion, and you see Corey Haim mid-air, and you hear, God damn!
I love that goddamn.
Yeah, me too.
The main thing I liked about this was, I think it might have been towards the end, where with the pole, the random pole in the middle of the blade off,
Of
where
course.
he swung around and, like, threw his blades into his chest. So it was kind of like a stripper pole move.
He did do the stripper pole blade
Yeah.
to the face, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then, so it was really long, but then it ended with, him on the ground and Corey Haim there with the gun. He got the gun.
Corey got the, well, because
And Miltie was there.
Miltie shows up. And
I'm going to tattoo Miltie on you.
I almost called him Blimpy. Yeah, Miltie shows up. He kicks the gun over to Corey Haim.
Yeah, and he's telling him to shoot him. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, yeah, this kid, throughout the whole movie, is like, fucking kill this guy. You better kill this guy. In the previous scene where Gary Lee had a gun to his head, he's like,
Gary Lee himself is like, you need to kill me or this is going to be a problem for you.
yeah, but the kid's like, just fucking shoot him. Like, give him the drugs, get me the fuck out of here.
And he doesn't. He's like, I can't be one of them. And I understand. I mean, but I do like this little twist at the end. So Gary Lee is now in custody and
they
goes
take
to
him to
prison.
jail.
And you get a little flash forward. And Speedbagger, clearly they've made up with him.
Mm-hmm.
They've got this RV. Patricia Arquette's there. Miltie, Griffin. And they're going to head up to the Pacific Northwest. Their plan is Oregon.
Yeah, they're going to Oregon. And what does Miltie think they're going to do in Oregon?
Mist?
Eat bushes.
Eat bushes.
Eat bushes.
Well, that's mist talk, friend.
Well,
when we've been hailing mist for days, you're saying a lot of crazy
that's
stuff.
Corey Haim's plan is to eat bushes.
But I like this little twist that Gary Lee, we get to see him. He is still in prison,
Yeah.
and he's like being handed cell phones, and
Well, yeah,
got
he's
this,
wearing like a Miami Vice suit, and he's got
Yeah,
like
he's
his
got
lawyer
this-
with a laptop in
yeah,
there.
like a plush like penthouse
Right.
set up in his cell. And he's still running things, and he's like, I want to, we've been talking about expanding operations. I want to expand it up into the Pacific Northwest, specifically Oregon. Like, why? And he's like, that's where he's going. Boom, expanded universe.
Yeah.
I know you jumped ahead to that, but I wanted to take us back, if I may,
Of course.
Sure.
to exactly what Griff said when Miltie was trying to get him. They were both trying to get him to shoot Gary Lee,
Yeah.
right? And he actually said, "I'm not like you." And Gary Lee, remember, he had the
Oh, yeah,
knife.
he was about to
He was
knife.
boot
about to
knife.
pull out the knife, and then he said, but then he punched him, and he said,
Yeah.
"But I'm not stupid."
Classy move.
Classic Ramrod.
Classic Haim.
Yeah.
Classic Haim.
I'm not stupid. Anyway,
Classic Haim.
sorry, I just had to take us back to that because that was
No, that's
a
fair.
good line, you know.
So, what's everyone's view on the Rollerboys
Well,
here?
Sarah, why don't you go first? Because
Yeah.
you hadn't seen this before.
Well, like I gave away pretty early on, I was a little bit more bored than I thought I would be. Just generally speaking. And, I found myself, did I miss what the mist is supposed to be? Or did I miss, and so it felt like some of the building that you would normally have, like universe building, information, like I just wasn't there. So it was harder, I think, to get into it early on. But, I really liked Patricia Arquette, and, Corey Haim is still cute. Like, I had him, my Tiger Beat with him on my, hanging on my wall in my room.
Yeah, so if we're giving this a hunky boy smoke show rating, how do you rate Corey Haim on this?
Oh God, Corey Haim is amazing.
3, how many out of 5 Tiger Beats?
Out of 5, he gets 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 Tiger Beats. Okay.
So where's 5 out of 5 Tiger Beats?
That's
Corey
River Phoenix.
No, the Corey Haim. No, like where would Corey Haim achieve a 5 out of 5 for you in Corey Haimdom?
Is that even possible?
I think probably License to Drive.
All right.
Okay.
I'm willing to do License to Drive.
Yeah.
At any point in time. Also not streaming right now.
That's weird. So what River Phoenix movie?
Oh, I mean, any.
Just in general.
Just in general. I mean, I remember I actually I was so obsessed with River Phoenix that I wasn't old enough, clearly, but I had my mom take me to see Stand By Me because I had to see River Phoenix. I also snuck into Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon.
Okay.
So he was just, like the pinnacle of my Tiger Beat on my wall days.
I like it. I know we talked about this the other night, but you should see Sneakers if you like.
Oh yeah, Sneakers is a great film.
Yeah.
He was a lot of fun in that movie.
He is. Yeah. I legit love that movie. I don't think we should do it for this because it's too good. I think.
I don't think we should do it for this because there's a lot of cat and mouse and a lot of secrecy, and I just feel like if you listen to this, we would totally ruin.
Oh yeah, like my drunk ass is not going to be able to track what's going on in that movie.
Yeah, we would just straight up be like, this happened, and people would be like, oops.
I think it's also 2.5 hours long. Yeah. But you guys, listeners, Sneakers is dope.
Yeah, that's it. I saw Sneakers in the theater, I think several times.
Yeah, I want to say I did as well. But you thought this movie was boring.
It was kind of slow. It didn't pique my interest as much as I thought it would. And, but I mean, it was fun. It was Corey Haim. There was the Coates, Highlander on wheels kind of, vibe. But yeah, it was okay. It just definitely wasn't one of my favorites. It's no, if I skip ahead, right, it was no True Romance. It's no License to Drive.
Oh sure. Well, and comparing it to True Romance is probably not super fair.
No.
But yeah, it is definitely no License to Drive.
Right.
What's your views on it, Mike?
I like this movie. I mean, I know I talk shit throughout the whole episode. But yeah, this movie's kind of fun for me. It sucks and it's stupid and rollerblading looks dumb, but I mean, this is the second time I've seen this movie. I enjoyed it both times. This isn't like a yearly watch for me, but I'll see this movie again. There's merit here for me.
I was gonna say I pretty much agree with that.
Yeah, I think I didn't see this movie when it came out, but if this movie had been on my radar, so I would have been 10 when this movie came out. If this movie would have been on my radar at 10, I would have been I need to see this movie.
Yeah, so that's definitely clearly I try to separate any kind of nostalgia. I'll just be very upfront about it. So that's where I agree with Mike across the board. This movie isn't the best, but there's some merit to it. But seeing it when I was younger, it's more what if I was out on my own? What if I was the little kid, or what if I was slightly older and I had to look after someone else? I'm working for some dope corporation. They're we'll just set you up with everything. I mean, Corey Haim, I don't know how old he was in this film, but he still looks pretty young. He always looked young. I honestly feel up until his death, he never really looked his age. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. It's a compliment. So he looks kind of young. So I found him accessible when I was younger. That could be a few years away from me. I'm part of the Rollerboy gang or taking them down or something. But yeah, I overall liked it.
Yeah, well, Corey Haim always plays the guy who's like kind of the legit character who has to kind of take care of business. And yeah, that was like when I was that age, that was definitely appealing for me. Like that, he was the guy who I always wanted to be.
You gotta take care of business sometimes.
Someone's got to. There's not going to be these fucking Frog Brothers. That's for goddamn sure.
I think if I would have seen it when it first came out, or even in the early 90s, I think I would have liked it more, probably.
Sure. Oh yeah, 100%.
And then but yeah, it would. I mean, I didn't dislike it. It was just.
Yeah.
But if you want to see other Corey Haim movies or Corey Haim-esque movies, you should write us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com, or you could hit us up at rabbittroopsucks.com. Just proper. Just go to the website. Boom. You could look us up at on Instagram or on Facebook, and probably other places. I don't know. Any place that plays podcasts will play this. Yeah. That's how you get in touch with us.
That is true. I have nothing else to add to that, but all those things are true. And leave comments. Join the conversation on Facebook. We have a semi-active Facebook group.
Yeah, I mean, or if you're like on iTunes or whatever, or using the podcast app, like after you leave a 5 out of 5 score for us, tell us why that you were so delighted to leave so many stars.
Or roast us. I don't care. But as long as the rating is 5 stars.
5 stars, a bunch of goofuses.
I mean, I know what this is. So what's next?
Well, we got Ninja Busters.
Ninja Busters is next.
So does busting make you feel good? Does it make you feel good if you're a ninja? Because you're about to bust some ninjas. Some 2 lazy bumpkins need to get their life on track, so they're going to become martial arts masters, and a bunch of hijinks will ensue in Ninja Busters.
Is that actually the synopsis?
Pretty much.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, so that'll be next week. Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in.
I hope you had fun.
I did. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
This is great.
Do you have any last prayers for any Rollerboys out there?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Are you going to rollerblade home? Is that how you got here?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Good.
Mike's doing some sweet... I'm sorry, let me do it again. Mike's doing some sweet tricks.
Yeah, I'm currently in the corner just like blade dancing.
Wow. Well,
Jeez, you guys.
sweet trick, Mike. Do it again.
I will not.
Well, as always, Rabbit Troop sucks.
Yeah.
And from apparently a much better film, to all of our listeners, you're so cool. You're so cool. You're so cool.